नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, chapter number 2, beginning from verse number 10. So we read in the previous verse that Krishna, he ordered Yogamaya to transfer Balaram from the womb of Devaki to womb of Rohini. And then he said that he will also take birth as the 8th child, and she should take birth from Yashoda. So this is what he told her. Now Yogamaya will say, what is my benefit? Right? He says, why shall I do this? Right? Nobody wants to do. Yes.
Can you please explain this ansansena putratam putra bhavam prapsami natu sarva ansena iti? The previous commentary.
Yeah, so he said that he is going to take birth from Devaki, and because Devaki has mood of Aishwarya, so her Vatsalya is not pure Vatsalya, because she also has knowledge of Krishna being God or Supreme Ishvara. So therefore her motherly affection does not flow inhibited. Because if you know somebody is Aishwarya, if I know that Vinith Narayan is a great man, then I cannot be very friendly with him. I have to keep I have to keep my distance. Right? Swing, what is that? Nadina Nakhinam Tata. That from the river, from an animal who has horns, royal people keep distance because you don't know what they can do. So therefore he says that my birth from her will be not incomplete, means not as Swam Bhagavan, because Krishna as he is a human being and he is a cowherd boy. That's why he's a Gopal. So from Devaki he is not born as Gopal. There he is a Kshatriya, and also he appeared with 4 hands first, and then only he became a baby. So therefore 400 person cannot be a son of human beings. So therefore he says that is not my original forms. When he says Sarvansha, means his other part is missing. His part or his personality of being a cowherd boy is missing in that personality. So in that sense he says it is not Sarvansha. So that is the meaning of Aham Ansha Bhagena Devakya Putratam
The
Shudha.
original form is Gopal form.
That is the Sarvansha.
Sarvansha form.
Because no other form has this cowherd characteristic. Whether it is Narayana or Rama or even, why go so far away? Krishna himself in Mathura and Dwarka. So there he does not play flute. Although sometimes they will have deity named as Parthasarathi and he is playing flute. So that is
while watching this Krishna serial, we saw recently that
because there are people listening.
while watching this Krishna serial recently, we saw that Vidurji constantly knows, and Bhishma Pitama knows that he's Krishna, is God.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, they know. That's why Bhishma prays to him. Even in Bhagavatam, if you read.
But in Gokul Leela, in Vrindavan Leela, nobody knows that he's God.
No. That's why they're able to love him so intimately. Because when you know somebody is God, you cannot love that person. You can worship him, you can respect, but Love in the sense of intimacy, being heart to heart. You cannot relax. You know that in Sanskrit it is called sambram, like sort of anxiety is there.
Aura is.
Yeah. Yeah, like some big personality comes, then you're always on your toes to take care and everything should go okay and you should not feel upset or anything like that. But when somebody is very close to you, then you're not worried like that. So then you open your heart, you relax, sit down. You don't have to be dressed up. You don't have to make a show. So whenever there is Aishwarya, then there is a show. You know this. Because you are the Aishwarya man. So that's for with Devaki, he does not appear in his full form. So that's what he told Yogamaya, Thaham ans bhagena Devakyaha putratam shubhe, that I will appear from Devaki but ansha bhagena, not as Sarvansha. So that is the reason.
Babaji, like is Bhishma remembering Krishna is also in a Kshatriya vesh, no? Not as a Gaval.
Yes. He is a Kshatriya, how can he worship a Gvala? Kshatriyas are proud, Gvalas are below them. That's why Krishna sent Uddhava to us, because Uddhava is also a Kshatriya. So he was thinking, oh, these are cowherd people, I will go and pacify them. It is only when he came here that his back was bent. Vande Nanda Vrajastri Nam Padrenam Abhikshnasa. So then he was bowing down to their dust. So that is of course something unusual, because Kshatriyas don't do that. Right? Sar kata lenge magar sar jhukaenge nahi.
Yeah, like in Puri, lot of local people think that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's influence on Raja Rudra Pratap was a negative influence because he became humble,
Yes.
devotee, and he lost his interest in empire or Kshatriya qualities.
Right.
And that Gaudadesh lost a lot of its territory because of that. So when I go to Puri, they talk like him. There's some people who treat him as Sachal Jagannath, others treat him as someone less negative.
Well, they also have a point, there is a truth behind it.
Materialistically,
Yes. From their point of view, they are right. So even sannyasis, I mean, my Guru Maharaj, he lived in Banaras for many years, so he used to say that the sannyasis in Banaras, if they go to a temple and if it is a Krishna temple, they don't bow down to Krishna unless there is a Shalagram Sila there. Because they say he is a cowherd fellow and we are sannyasis. So we cannot bow down to him, but if Shalagram Sila is there, then they bow down to that. Because Shalagram Sila is Narayana. So he says they cannot pay respect to him. They can sing songs and recite Gita and everything, but it's a different mood. So that's how sannyasis are. So that's why many people do not understand who Krishna is. And Krishna himself says, Mam tu Vedana Kasyana, that nobody really knows me. So Manashyanam Sahasresu, some rare person. Because it is difficult, one side we think God and God means Aishwarya, and then we see Krishna is doing some weird things which God is not supposed to do. All that is dancing and stealing even the dresses of the girls. I mean, any person worth the name respectable family would not do anything like that. So this is very bewildering. People cannot digest it. That's why some people worship only Bal Krishna, because he is okay.
Manageable.
That they can handle him. But this Krishna, little bit more than that, becomes a problem. Or they worship Dwarka Krishna. If you go to South India, it is all Dwarka Krishna, Rukmani Krishna. This Radha Krishna is a little bit troublesome situation. People really don't know, is Radha his wife, and if he is not wife, why is she is hanging around him?
And then they also ask, then also they ask that Radha's name is not in Bhagavatam, so why you have?
Yeah.
In fact, recently I had a meeting with some very big shot in RSS, like number 2. And in a private conversation to me, he told that you guys, Brajavasis, are emotional people.
Yes.
Why you keep chanting Radha Radha? There is nobody like Radha. There is no Krishna. God is only Nirakar Brahma. You people are emotional. People make fun of you throughout the country because you guys are so emotional.
Yeah, so he's right. That's true. Many these other Vaishnavas, if you talk to them seriously, they actually think that these Gaudiya Vaishnavas especially, they are some kind of a sect. I've spoken to scholars and they talk like that. They say
What is the counter argument?
counter argument is you give the argument, then I give counter argument. I cannot give the argument and counter argument.
The argument is that it's an illusion.
No, it is not an illusion, it is based on Shastra. So, only thing is that they are unable to understand. So, first of all, do you accept Vyasadeva?
Sure.
And they will say yes. So, Vyasadeva also wrote Bhagavatam, and Bhagavatam is the last work of Vyasadeva. And being the last work, this is most powerful because there is a rule of Purmimamsa, Purparyo Parvidhi Balvan, that what comes later overrides what came before. So it is Bhagavatam which says Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. So then you cannot counter that.
How about Radha? Her name is not in Bhagavatam.
Radha's name is also there. Aniya Radhito Nunam Bhagavan Haririshwara Yenno Vihaya Govinda Yama Anedraha. So Aradhito, Radha means one who does Aradhana. So gopis themselves are giving the name has its etymological meaning. So that etymological meaning is mentioned there, Aniya Radhito Nunam, that she has rightly worshipped Krishna because Krishna is left with her. So Radha means Aradhyati iti Radha, and that is mentioned Aniya Radhito Nunam Bhagavan Haririshwara. But this is a Ras Shastra, so in Ras Shastra things are spoken in a paroksha manner, indirectly. And Krishna himself says, Parokshvada Risha Paroksham Mamcha Priyam, that the sages are Parokshvadi, they don't speak directly, and that is very dear to me also. It's his own statement. And another thing is that Krishna himself says in Bhagavad Gita, which is accepted by all, even if you don't take at least Bhagavad Gita, all the acharyas have written commentary, and Krishna says that Vedasya Sarvair Aham Eva Vedya. Right? That from all the Vedas only I am to be known, not something else. Aham Eva. So Eva means Anya Yoga Vyavacheda. Eva means it is exclusive. So if only he is to be known, that means you have to study now everything with this perspective. And therefore, truly speaking, it is Gaudiya Vaishnavas only who understand Vedas. Because they are the only one who worship Krishna as Swam Bhagavan and no one else. So you may be worshipping Narayana and Vishnu or anybody, but Krishna says that from Vedas only he is to be known. And that's what we are worshipping. And Krishna was fascinated by Radha, therefore he left Rasa Leela with Radha. So therefore we say Radhe Radhe. Bolo Jai Shri Radhe.
There are shlokas where you see pair of footprints and then one pair disappears.
Yeah, that
and
is.
Krishna's footprint has deeper impression, which denotes that he's carrying her on his shoulder. And then
So this sloka is from that chapter only.
10th.
Yeah. So now he is speaking Archishyanti Manusyatvam Sarvakama Vareshwarim Dhupopahar Balibhi Sarvakama Varapradam. So he is saying that if you do this, then people in this world, they will worship you, Archishyanti. So your going there is not futile, but you will become worshipable. Why? Because you will be Sarva Kama Vareshwarim. You will be the Ishwari, the goddess who fulfills all kamnas, especially of materialistic people. And they will worship you with Dhupa Upahara Balibhi Sarva Kama Varapradam. So they will worship you with Dhup Deep, right? Lamp, incense, flowers, gifts. Why? Because you are Sarva Kama Prada. You will be the giver of the boons. You will satisfy their desires. So therefore, you should go. People are interested to do something when they see some benefit. So she is happy now. He says, okay, now I will go. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Tavans bhutam mayam tu vasudevena aneshyamanam kansham vanchiyatva vindhyadisthaneshu pravishyanti nara aradhishyanti ityaharchishyanti. He says, so he is speaking to Yogamaya, and then Mahamaya is also part of Yogamaya. So he says that part of you will be carried away by Vasudeva to Mathura. And Krishna was brought by Vasudeva and exchanged by the girl who was born to Yashoda. So what he takes, that is Mahamaya, that is Durga. Yogamaya did not come. Yogamaya stayed in Braj only, but not in manifest form. And Mahamaya was brought. So you will deceive Kamsa and go into the sky. When Kamsa wanted to kill her, and she went up into the sky and appeared in his 800 form. So you will be worshipped, especially the temple of Durga is in Vindhya mountains, Vindhya Devi.
Vindhyavasini.
Yeah. So Vindhyadi sthaneshu pravishyanti nara. So there you will be worshipped. Yat sarva kamanam lokanam vara shreshtham ishwarim. So you will, why? Because you will be the best of giving, fulfilling the desire of people. Therefore they will worship you. And then in the next two shlokas, he explains that you will have many names because you will be worshipped in many places with different names. So these are listed here. Namdhayani kurvanti sthanani cha nara bhuvi Durgeti Bhadrakaliti Vijaya Vaishnaviti cha Kumida Chandika Krishna Madhavi Kanyaketi cha Maya Narayani Ishani Shardayati Ambikati cha. So you will have various names which will be given to you by human beings, such as Durga, Bhadrakali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sharda and Ambika. So these are the various names of Yogamaya manifest here, and there are different temples in different parts of India. She is known by different names in different temples. So kurvanti karishyanti. So kurvanti means, karishyanti means it is people who will give these names to you. Tadevam idanim madavtarena tvadavtarena cha lokaha kechid vaishnavaha kechid shaktascha bhavishyanti iti bhava. So what is the indication of this is that after Krishna's appearance and then appearance of Yogamaya, then people got divided in two groups. Some became Vaishnavas who worship Krishna and some became Shakta. So there is a big group of people in India who worship Durga, Kali, Bhadrakali, right? Chamunda, Chandika, Kannika, Ambika, Sharada. So in different parts of India, she is worshipped with different names. But there are a lot of people who worship. Mother worship or Shakti worship is very popular in India. In fact, probably it is only in India that Shakti is worshipped. In other religions outside India, you don't find any female goddess being worshipped like that. Either they have no form of God, or if they have at all any form, it is only male god. You don't see any female deities being worshipped.
But they also say that Kali is Krishna. What in one of the lectures?
Well, that way everybody is Krishna.
Expansion of Krishna.
Yeah, everybody is, she is obviously not Krishna as Krishna, but energy of Krishna manifest in female form. It's like we say that Radha is also Krishna, but still Radha is Radha and Krishna is Krishna. So ultimately there is only one tattva, right? So that one reality is manifest in different forms. So we have a view to see one in everything and everything in within one. That is the Indian concept. That one reality manifests in all these forms, and in all the forms there is only one. So it is not Advaitavad in the sense that there is only Brahman and everything is Mithya. And it is also not that God has become this world and then there is no more God, or God is not here and it's only beyond the clouds. So this is a concept, and this concept is not easy to understand for people, especially those who are not familiar with Vedic culture. They have tough time understanding, and that's why all these problems of breaking temples and demolishing deities. Because these people will say God is omnipresent. So if he is omnipresent, what is the problem? He is also in the deity. But then they have some statements in their Shastra which seems to be against form, which again is a misunderstanding. That is to speak that he does not have a material form, or he is not limited to some one particular form in this world. It's not that he does not have a form. So unless one studies this Vedic scriptures properly, one does not get the complete concept of reality. Everybody has some concept which is also part of reality, but to get the complete picture, that you get here from Bhagavatam. And it is said, Vadanti tat tatveda tattvam is jnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. So one reality, but within one reality everything is existing, material, spiritual. So we have to make the distinction, and at the same time we have to know that nothing is independent. Aham sarvasya prabha matta sarvam pravartate iti mattva bhajante mam buddha bhav samanvita. So this bhav samanvita is important. like you said that some of these RSS people were saying that you people are emotional. So bhav is important, because without bhav, what is there? Abhav, right?
Negation.
कुछ नहीं है, right? So if you don't have bhav, what do you have? Abhav. So what is life without bhav? Even what is RSS people, they are emotional about Hinduism or not? They have emotions about Hinduism, right? So bhav is the real impelling force for anything. You can have your intellectual, and that also impels you to make decisions and act, but it is dry and it doesn't satisfy anybody. That's why you see that people at present are quite dissatisfied, especially modern people, those who have rejected God and all this, because where do they repose their bhav? Bhav, ultimately bhav can be reposed only in something which is great and big, right? Alpe sukham nasti, bhuma vai sukham. So that they have rejected categorically. And then they are seeking happiness and love. It won't happen, because you cannot love something alpa, limited. You cannot love something which is kshudra, insignificant, which are human beings also. So they try to love, they go talk about love, 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 but if you give up God, you cannot love anybody. So they remain dissatisfied, because they cannot repose their bhav anywhere properly. And they do not even know it now. So this is creating a mental dissatisfaction and emptiness in the heart. Loneliness, very big problem. Feeling of emptiness. Then you become a little crazy, run around, do some crazy things, because you have to keep, like if somebody is mad, you have to keep that guy engaged in something, right? Like children, otherwise they'll break things or do some nonsense. So put them on some work, give them a gadget. So now grown-up people are also like that, like children. They're not very mature, because maturity cannot come without bhav. Without bhav, there is no maturity. So now the modern civilization is very immature. People may not like it, but if you analyze the activities even of grown-up people, they are very childish. There is no depth. Everybody is just trying to be young. Even 90-year-old people is trying to because the maturity never came. Body has aged, but maturity has not come. So maturity comes only by the bhav. And that bhav is here. Pivat bhagavatam rasamalayam muhuraho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. Bhavuka. So this is what brings maturity. People are saying, why are you saying Radhe Radhe? Radha is the Mahabhav Swarup. She is the supreme, all the bhava, and therefore she is most mature. And if you worship her, you will also become mature. So this is the greatness of bhakti, especially given by Mahaprabhu. That does not mean, of course, that if you are a king, then you neglect your duty. That's what he is telling to Arjuna also. So you have to have both. You have to have bhav, and then you have to have your head also, and your intellect. So that's why Krishna is the complete person. He can dance with gopis, but he also has his Sudarshan Chakra. It is not that he is only Lalit Madhav, right? He is also a hero. So this is the personality. This is the complete development of a human being. That's why he is Purna Bhagavan. Even if you forget about Shastra, just analyze it. That there is nobody who is more complete than Krishna. Because he has got all sides to him. Especially if you see the head and heart. So he has got the head, here is Bhagavatam discourse to Uddhava or Bhagavad Gita. And he has his bhav, read 10th canto. So you want to see his head, read 11th canto. You want to see his heart, read 10th canto. Right? But the heart comes first, then comes head. So head should run on heart, not independent of that. So now people are more cerebral now. And therefore they are very dissatisfied. Because that is just half of the picture, maybe not even half. So without Krishna, person remains incomplete. That's why Jiva Goswami says that even Brahman realization is an incomplete realization of the Absolute. So this is Apurna. Because he says this is an incomplete manifestation of the reality. Because practically everything is missing in Brahman, it's only abhav. Brahman is that way, so you cannot have any bhav. There is no possibility. So therefore they say neti neti, complete abhav. So this is Bhagavatam, therefore is the supreme book. Srimad Bhagavatam Pranamamlu Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramhansam Ekam Jnanam Param Giyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Neskarmim Avishkritam. So that's Advaita Vedanta talks about Neskarma. This is supreme Neskarma is here. Sarvedant Sarami Sri Bhagavatam Ishyate Tadarasamrityaptasya nanyat syat kvachidrati. So this is the sar, the essence of all Vedanta. But not the dry Vedanta. So therefore he says that now there are two types of people, those who are worshipping Krishna, Vaishnavas, and those who are worshipping the form of Yogamaya, Shaktas. So it became popular after that. Yes.
It's about all the different names of this Yogamaya that has been given by people. They are they are referring to different activities or different.
Yeah, it's different leelas, also different qualities.
Different qualities. Okay.
Yeah.
Gurudev, I also have a question. When you mentioned that after Krishna's appearance and after Yogamaya, this division between Vaishnavas and Shaktas became prominent, how was it at the time of Krishna's Leela himself? Because the gopis were also worshipping Katyayani, so that
but they were not Shaktas. Worship is always there, but who is considered as the worshipable deity? That was Narayana. They were Vaishnavas, Narayana worshippers. And they are worshipping Katyayani for some specific boon. It's a tradition in India. It's not that Katyayani was there, some worshipable deity.
Nobody worshipped Durga as a main deity. They were all worshipping
No, there were
Shiva.
people, there were also worshippers of Durga. If you see the story of Karna, then he was also worshipping, I think, Bhadrakali. If you go to this Munger in Bihar, there's a place called Karntila. It's supposed to be the place where Karna had his palace. And from there, now of course there is no tunnel or anything, but from there, a few kilometers away, I went there. There was like a small cave, and inside the cave, there was a big, like upside down turned, like a cauldron type of kadhai. So they say that Karna, he was known as very charitable, Danvir. Every day he was giving a lot of charity. That he used to come from his palace through the tunnel to this temple and worship the Devi there. And every day he will get certain amount of gold from her. And then he will go and distribute. So he was worshipping Devi. So Devi worship was there. It's not that it was not there. Before that also we know that Mahishasura was killed by Devi. But it became more prominent, that's what he says.
Just as a follow-up on this, when it's here saying Vaishnavas and Shaktas, then does this refer only to, as you're saying, like sort of cultural or commonplace worship, or does it refer to more the doctrine of people saying exclusively Shakta
Yeah.
worship is best and the only thing that we should do, or the principal thing that we should do?
Yeah, it's Shakta in that sense. Otherwise, the Yadavas in Dwarka, they also worshipped when Krishna fought with Jamban, right? And then he did not come out for 27 days. Then they put a stone piece at the cave. They went and they were praying to Devi. Isn't it? It's mentioned in Bhagavatam. For Krishna's welfare, because Kshatriyas worship Devi before they go to fight. So now he explains the different names of Balram. Says Garbha Sankarshanattam Vai Prahu Sankarshanam Bhuvi Rameti Lok Ramanad Balbhadram Balochrayat. That Balram will be known as Sankarshana because he was pulled. Karshan means to pull. Krishi Vileknandhat. So he was pulled by Yogamaya, as Krishna has already ordered her, from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini. Therefore he is known as Sankarshan. And Rameti Lokaramanat, he is also known as Rama because he gives happiness to people. And Balbhadram Balochrayat is also known as Balbhadra because he is very powerful. So these are popular names. Sometimes Balram is also called just Rama or Balrama, also called Balbhadra and Sankarshana. So here this word Rameti is a little bit odd from Sanskrit grammar because it should be Ramameti, right? It says Sankarshanam, Balbhadram and Ramam. So how it became Rameti? That's a problematic construction. So either you have to take this Rama as an invocation, Rama iti, then it will become Ramiti, but invocation doesn't fit here. It should be the second case, that he will be known by name of Balbhadra, Rama and Sankarshana. So Sri Vishwanath says that Rameti Sahasupayati Samasa. So he makes it as a compound word from Ramam iti. And when you make samas, then vibhakti is dropped. And then you make sandhi with Rama iti, it becomes Rameti. But this kind of samas is not very common. Making samas with iti. Iti is most of the time used in the sense of quotation mark. But to make samas with that, of course, you can make samas with. And he is given the sutra, Sahasupayati, it's a Panini Sutra. So that's the explanation is given by him. So sandishta evam bhagavata tathatyomiti tadvachaha pratigriya parikramya gam gata tattatha karot. So when she was ordered in this way by Sri Krishna, so then she said tatha iti. See, now it is iti is coming here. So tatha means let it be so. Like you say tatha astu. So she said let it be so. Means okay, I will do that iti. And then she also said om. So in Sanskrit om is also used in the sense of yes. Like when you say yes in Sanskrit you can say am. Am is another word, am, and also om. Am and om both. Om has other meanings also. It is also pranam mantra, but om also is used in the sense, just like we say these days Hari Bol. Somebody calls you, then you say Hari Bol. Somebody makes a phone call to you, pick up, you say Hari Bol. So you actually are saying yes, right? Isn't it? So Hari Bol has become equivalent to yes. So like that om was used in the past. So like in the villages people say Ram Ram Ji, Radhe Shyam Ji, Jai Bhole. So like that om was common in the Vedic times. Therefore om has also the sense of yes. So she said let it be so and yes. Twice. She's like you say sometimes yes, yes, I will do it. When you're really firm about something, you repeat it. So tatha iti omiti. He said twice tadvacha. Tadvacha pratigriya. So she accepted her order and she took permission from him and she do parikrama. So in the olden times doing parikrama was considered also a sign of respect. So especially with big people, you do that, Guru, God, some devas. So when they appear to you, then you bow down to you do parikrama to them. Which means that my life is rotating around you, that is the meaning. You are the center of my life. So means you are the center of my thought process, and that is depicted by physically going around. That is the significance of parikrama. So parikramya gam gata. So this doing parikrama is an older tradition, which is popular here in Braj area, north. You don't see this parikrama so much in South India. So gam gata tat tatha karot. So then she came to the earth and she did what she was asked to do. That means she transferred Balram from Devaki to Rohini, and then she waited to take birth from Yashoda because it was not immediately. Balram was born after a few months, and then only Yashoda became pregnant. So then she was within Yashoda. So Tathayati Punaromiti Atyadrena. So Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti says that why he is saying twice. First Tathayati, that itself was enough, then Omiti, why again said Om, yes, let it be so, yes. So he says this is to show great respect. Out of respect you repeat. So Tadiyam Vachaha Pratigrahiya. So accepting her words or honoring her words. Pratigrahiya is also in the sense of honor. Gam Prithvim, she came to earth. Earth is also called Go. Go means cow, Go also means earth. And then after that she did what she was asked to do. So when she did that, then what happened? Garbhe pranite devakya rohinim yog nidraya aho vishransito garbha iti paura vichakrushu. So when the womb was transferred from Devaki to Rohini by Yogamaya, then it was noticed by people, because Devaki was in prison, but there was not so much strict surveillance in the beginning. The real problem was from the 8th child. Although Narada has convinced Kamsa that 8th can be anyone, but still it is a natural way of counting first, second, third. So just to make sure he was killing everybody, but he was having real danger from the 8th one. So it is only when Devaki became pregnant 8th time, then he put very strict surveillance and guards and supervision and everything. He says, now this is the one. And this Narada unnecessarily came and made me kill all these children. Because Kamsa will repent again when Yogamaya will slip away from her hands. Says, what is this? I troubled unnecessarily my sister and killed so many children. So Devaki's womb was like as if she had a miscarriage. And this news spread around to people. So therefore Paura Vichukroshu. So all the people of the city, they all were talking about, or rather feeling sad about it, that she lost her 7th child. So Vishanshrito Garbhaiti, Aho Vishanshrito, they said, alas, alas, she has had miscarriage. In this way they talked, feeling sad. So that means it was a well-known thing. It was not just that it was known only to few people, but the whole town knew about it. So the news spread. So Vishanshrita kanseneva kenchit mantrena ausdhadi upayana ityartha. So the people of Mathura, they thought that this is some play of Kamsa, that either he has used some power of mantra to kill the baby in the womb, or he has used some Ayurvedic herbs so that she has miscarriage. It's like these days they can kill the baby in the womb. So they also thought that he has done that. So Vichakrushu Devakya Snehavatya Vilepu. So they cried out of sadness for that, because they had affection for Devaki. So being affectionate towards Devaki, they were very unhappy and they cried that she has lost her child. Already 6 were killed and the 7th she had a miscarriage. So here the word used for Yogamaya is Yoga Nidra. This is very strange. that instead of saying Yoga Mayaya, Rohinim Yoga Mayaya, he says Yoga Nidraya. So Yoga Nidra is also another name for Yoga Maya. Right? So like when you sleep, you are in also some kind of Maya. So Yoga Nidra means you forget everything and you become fixed on God. And Yoga Maya is also that which unites you with Krishna. It's like Mahamaya separates you from Krishna, makes you absorbed in the material world. Yoga Maya makes you absorbed in Krishna. So Yoga Nidra also is, that's what Yoga Nidra is. Although now in yoga they also have Yoga Nidra technique. But this is different Yoga Nidra here. This is not that Yoga Nidra taught. That Yoga Nidra comes from Tantras, which many people practice, especially in the West. Because there is a big problem of sleep these days. People are not able to sleep. They have become so much cerebral. They cannot relax. So now this topic is over. Now he talks about what Krishna himself did. So Bhagavan api Vishwatma Bhaktanam abhyankaraha aviveshansh bhagena manayanak dundubhehe. So then Vishwatma, that who is object of love of the whole universe, of everyone, who is Bhagavan himself, who grants fearlessness to his devotees, and that is the purpose of his appearance. He manifested, or he entered into the mind of Vasudeva, Ansabhagena, Avivesha. So again this word is used, Anshabhagena, which came earlier, and it has so many different meanings. So Vishwatma Vishwasyeva Premaspadi Bhavishyan. So Atma means the self, Atma also means the object of love. So becoming the object of love of everyone, Anshena Purushadi Avatar Vrindena Sa, along with all his other Anshas, parts such as the Purushas, Bhagena, Bhag Samuhena, and Bhaga means along with all the Ashwarya. So Bhaganam Samuha, Bhaga. It's like Rasanam Samuha, Rasa. So Ansha and Bhaga is taking these two separate words. So along with all his Anshas, parts, part manifestations, and along with all his opulences, so he entered into the mind of Vasudeva. Mana avivesha, mansi avir babhuva. Paravaresho mahadansi yukto hi ajopi jato bhagavan yathagni. This is statement made by Uddhava to Vidura, that Lord who is the master of material and spiritual, with all his ansa, although he is unborn, he took birth just like fire manifests from the wood. So fire is already there. What is the meaning he entered? Was he not there before? So he is there before also, but now he became more manifest. He made his presence felt to Vasudeva and also to other people around him. So that is the meaning. In the same way, entering into the womb of Devaki. So he is already there, but to perform his pastime, to make it appear as if he is taking birth. Ajopi jato. Although he is aja, unborn, means he has no birth, yet he is taking birth. So that is his Leela, and the purpose is different purpose, but one of them is mentioned Bhakta Nama Abhyankara, specifically to make his devotees Vasudeva and Devaki fearless. Because now they are more in fear that now the 8th child is coming, what is he going to do, what will happen, more anxiety. They also know that 8th one is going to kill Kamsa, so uncertainty, what will happen. Is he going to kill Kamsa or Kamsa will kill him? What will happen? So now once he came in the mind of Vasudeva, then all anxiety, all fear disappeared from that. Because now they became fearless. Because he is Abhaycharan, wherever his foot is put, then the fear is not there. So, yad bhayad vibheti, ismad vibheti swayam bhayam, from whom the fear personified, which is death, fears. Mrityu dhavati panchame, yad bhayat vati vatoyam, yad bhavat tapti surya. By his fear, the wind blows, the sun shines, and mrityu dhavati panchama, the death runs. So now when he comes, then fear goes away. So mrityu vayal bhito palayam. So the mortal being runs out of fear of mrityu, but he doesn't find any peace. Only when he takes to the feet of Krishna, tat padavja prapya yadrichadya swastha shrete mrityasmad vibheti arapeti. So then death runs away. So therefore now he manifests, that is the meaning, that he made his presence felt. So appearing in the mind is also that when something happens, first it comes into the mind. If you do something, then first you get the thought, then you make decision, then you act on it. So that is also the significance of coming into the mind. That now I'm coming. Get ready. So Janmashtami is coming soon. So I'll stop here if there's any question to ask.
So I would like to ask one more question regarding the topic of yesterday. So yesterday you spoke about how these you spoke about this Taranga Ranga and how Labha, Puja, Pratishta, getting honor, getting respect, gifts and so on, how these are big obstacles for devotees.
Mm-hmm.
And so now my doubt is this, that as a beginner in bhakti, or especially then, it is also recommended to honor superiors and and show respect towards more advanced people. And that's natural, and I mean also in general, a bhakta is manada, he gives respect. And so now it seems that giving respect is important, but at the same time receiving respect can be a big obstacle. So is it that when I give respect that I actually provide obstacles for the other person, or is it that I am then performing my what is best for me, and provide also circumstances for the other person to practice not being attached and not liking it and not, not working for it.
It depends
Because-
on the other person, how he takes it or she takes it.
Because you also explain that the problem is not receiving respect and so on, this is all natural, but the problem is liking it and even striving for it, working for it.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It depends on how the other person takes it. It is your good nature, and yes, it is recommended to give respect to others, especially to senior Vaishnavas. But how the other person takes it, that is up to that person. So if that person becomes attached to it or demands it and feels that I am great and I am superior, then that is his or her problem. That's not your problem, although you are part of it. In this. But your intention is not that, unless that is also your intention.
Unless
Then
I
it
do
is-
it to manipulate the other
Yeah.
person.
Then it is not good. But if you are just doing it out of your devotional heart, then that is good. So then it is the other person who has to take it in the right manner. That, as we say, that we are actually giving respect to not just the person, but ultimately Krishna manifest in him or her. That's what we respect. So then if one also takes like that, that it is not my respect.
So therefore, if I have the impression that the recipient of the respect maybe doesn't take it in the right way, then I still continue.
Yeah, because you do your part.
Mm.
You cannot change anyone's behavior.
Yes. Okay.
And if you do it with sincerity, maybe your sincerity will also influence that person.
Hare Krishna Babaji.
Hare Krishna.
You said that bhav is the real impelling force for doing anything.
Hmm.
You also said that in modern age people don't have bhav.
Hmm.
So people do some things, they're doing some job, some money. They have bhav in that, but that,
I mean,
that
they
is not
have-
meaning of-
Yeah, obviously they have attachment to that, which is also a bhav.
But does bhav really means bhav in Krishna?
Well, bhav means emotion. Emotions are positive emotions, negative emotions.
Hmm.
So when I'm saying that bhav is that which makes you grow, then I'm talking about positive emotions, obviously. And ultimately it is bhakti. Like we say that bhakti is of three types: sadhana bhakti, bhav bhakti and prema bhakti. So that's what I mean by bhav. Like giving respect, for example.
Hmm.
So it is very much missing now in the society. Now people think it is some kind of a demeaning act if I give respect to somebody. And they think that I'm great if I don't have to give respect to anybody.
Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
But in Vedic culture we were taught to give respect to everybody. And in the Upanishad, this is one of the last instructions before the student graduates: Matri Devo Bhava, Pitri Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava. So he is asking to give respect to parents, to Atithi Devo Bhava, even to a stranger. Atithi means stranger. So this is what Krishna is also teaching to Arjuna. Arjuna is saying, how do I meditate on you? Keshu keshu cha bhavesu, same word. Chintyasi bhagavan maya. In which bhava shall I think of you? Means I think of you means I give respect to you. So he says, Rasam Sukantaya Prabhasme Sasi Surya. So he explains that is the Vibhuti Yoga. So it is again to give that respect even to nature. Now we have exploited nature. Why? Because no bhav. So ultimately human beings cannot be completely without bhav. Some bhav is there. So the attachment to body is that bhav now. That I am the center and just enjoying the purpose of life. That is their bhav. But that is the type of bhav which animals also have. So that does not make you progress. What makes you progress is when you understand the presence of the Supreme. Because you grow depending on what is your object of meditation. If your object of meditation is petty, you also remain petty. If your object of meditation is supreme, you become supreme. So as Upanishad says, Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman, or like Brahman.
See, when people give us respect under the illusion that one has some saintly qualities which one doesn't have,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a big dilemma, because if you disrespect or don't let them do, then it may hurt their feelings. But in our heart we know it's a wrong respect being given to us. So how do we resolve this dilemma?
So then you think that he is respecting Krishna in me and I am servant of Krishna. If I have anything good, even if he is thinking which I don't have, still it belongs to Krishna only and not to me. So you when someone gives respect, you think of Krishna, think of your Guru. So then we remain humble because they are the worthy of respect. Krishna is actually the only recipient of all respect. That's why when Rajasuya Yajna of Yudhishthira Maharaj was there and it was decided who should be given the Agar Puja, Bhishma said Krishna. Krishna is not even a Brahmana. It was a doubtful whether he is a Kshatriya or Vaisya. And there were so many great sages there. Narada was there, right? Vyasa was sitting there. So many Chavan and Atri and these Maharshis. And many great kings were there. So why Bhishma said, that's why Shishupal said, this fellow is old, he has lost his head. But Bhishma is a Mahajana. So Krishna is the only person who is worthy of respect. So even when we respect Guru, when we respect cow, when we respect anybody, it is because of their relationship with Krishna. Not independently. Independently nobody is. Yeah. So even Devas, if we bow down to Shiva, why? Because he is a Vaishnava. But if we start worshipping independent, then we become an Asura. What is the difference between we giving respect or we worshipping Shiva and Ravana worshipping Shiva? So they worship him independent. So that is the Asuric Bhav. That is the curse which was given by Bhrigu. Ye vaisi vrata dhara. And those who will worship Shiva, they will all become Pashandi, heretics. So worshipping Shiva independently is one thing, and worshipping Shiva as a Vaishnava or as a representative of Krishna, manifestation of Krishna, even as Guna Avatar, that is a different thing.
In South there is a major conflict between Shaivites and Vaishnavites.
Big one.
So I was attending a program in Hyderabad where one big Acharya of the Ramanujacharya Sampradaya, he was performing a huge Sudarshana Homa. And there, when the Naivedya is offered, so when he offered to Shiva, which is part of the ritual, he washed his hands and purified himself to again continue to worship. Because as if offering Shiva polluted his. And that's what they do.
Yeah, well, they have a historical reason for that.
What is that?
And the reason is that when Ramanujacharya was in Srirangam and he was the Acharya, so the king, Chola king at that time, he was a Shaivite. So he was not happy with that and he was actually torturing Vaishnavas. And he wanted to kill Ramanujacharya. So he sent his people to arrest him when he heard that he is preaching about Vishnu Bhakti and he is very powerful. So he sent his police or whatever guards to go and capture him. So when they came and the news came, so Ramanujacharya would have been caught. So he had a disciple, Grihastha disciple, whose name was Qureshi. So he told that, Acharya, you take my dress and give me your dress. Otherwise they will kill you. So they exchanged dress. So when they came, then they caught Qureshi. And they thought he is Ramanujacharya because they don't know. And Ramanujacharya escaped and he went to this place in Karnataka. No, it's another place. So that's where he lived for many years, I don't know, 20, till the king was ruling. Only after that he came back to Srirangam. So there is still a matha there and his murti established.
Was it Udupi?
No, it's not. Udupi is Madhva Sampradaya. It's another place, I don't remember the name.
And so, why do they do this?
So now obviously they hate, so Sri Vaishnavas, they don't enter Shiva temple because they torture their Acharya. And then this Qureshi, they blinded him. They poked his eyes because when he was brought to the king asked him that who is better, superior to Shiva. So Shiva is also a measurement. Like you have gram and centigram, milligram, kilogram, like that. So there is a measurement called Shiva and there is a measurement called Drona. So he asked him, so he replied in Sanskrit, he was saying, he said, Drona asti tat param. He says, more than Shiva is Drona. So the king became so furious, he says, make him blind. He did not kill him, but he blinded him. It is only much later on than Ramanujacharya, when he came back, then he restored his eyesight. He took him to the Srirangam temple. And by his blessing.
So this Swamiji was in the house of one of the richest men in Hyderabad where this homa was being performed and I was to give a. So this Swamiji of Ramanujacharya Sampradaya was in the house of one of the richest men in Hyderabad where he was performing Sudarshan Homa. And I was waiting to be presentation of one of the Leela Stali to be restored so that I could get the sponsorship. So I proposed Rudra Kundit and I didn't realize that everybody made very dirty face, you know. And
you should have known better.
And I didn't know where to look at. You know. Then suddenly the lady who took us to that family, she was also another rich Marwadi lady. So she whispered in my ears, don't talk of Shiva here. Suggest something about Krishna or Vishnu. So I immediately called Vipin Vyas, the boy who used to work for Vipin, suggest something related to Krishna or Vishnu. So he said Sankarshan Kund.
That is perfect.
So not only they sponsored, the 34 feet tall granite deity was carved at Tirupati and we
brought
started it from there.
Yeah, Sankarshan, they will be.
Swamiji came for inauguration.
They will be very happy with Sankarshan. Also, all the Sankarshan is actually the supreme deity of Shiva.
Yeah.
Yes. Sankarshan is also in the form of Seshnag, and Shiva is having the Shesha, that is to honor his worshipable. But Shiva, they don't actually. I have been in Tirupati. You know, I was. They will not enter Shiva temple.
But in Jagannath Puri, Shiva temple is within the premises.
Yeah, but that is not Sri Sampradaya.
No, yeah, but Vaishnav temple in Odisha. So only it's in Tamil Nadu.
No, it's only Sri Sampradaya.
Yeah, sure.
Jagannath Puri is not Sri Sampradaya. Okay, stop.
Shirati.